Eu tenho bastante coisa para falar também.
Não, eu treinei direitinho, tá 10 minutos certinho. Inclusive, eu fiz os slides, aí eu gostaria de compartilhar minha tela. Quando eu puder, você me fala, por gentileza?
Tá bom, só vamos esperar um pouquinho. Agora acho que já está transmitindo para o YouTube. E daqui a pouquinho a gente vai apertar a tecla SAP e começar a falar inglês, né? Então,
Sim.
internacional. Só uma curiosidade, por que vocês fizeram o paper em espanhol?
Porque a Laura, ela é argentina. Ela ajudou a gente com. E ela falou que ela poderia traduzir espanhol. Eu ia traduzir em inglês, porque eu tenho mais facilidade. Mas agora também, dada essa globalização, a gente tem que saber inglês, espanhol e daqui a pouco chinês também, né? Mas eu tenho mais facilidade com o inglês, por isso que eu estou apresentando em inglês, os slides são todos em inglês.
Tá ótimo. I will post some information in the chat, okay? The same information that I put there in YouTube. Okay, I think it's time we can start the session. First of all, I'd like to thank the organization committee of the conference for inviting me to be the discussant of this paper. And thanks Cecilia for being here and to present her paper with her colleagues. So Cecilia, as we talked earlier, you have 10 minutes to quickly present the main ideas of your paper. Everyone also saw your video and read the paper, so the idea is a quick view. And then I will present you my comments and critiques, and we will open for the topic. Okay, so you can share your screen and feel free to start.
Okay. So, hi, good afternoon. My name is Cecilia Chaves. I'm going to present to you the work I did with Otávio Araújo, my classmate from our master program at University Federal of Minas Gerais, and together with the professors Laura and Maria. Our work is about the relationship between financial distress prediction and business combination in the Brazilian stock market. Well, as to show you how actual is the theme, I put the New York Times news, and it is saying pretty much that they expect bankruptcy protection in the United States to accelerate. So some companies, they show some poor performance that can lead to financial difficulty, and some companies that are in financial difficulty can lead to bankruptcy. We saw a lot of papers who predicts bankruptcy, but we think that bankruptcy may not provide enough time to manage or to identify ways to reverse it. So that's why we're studying financial difficulty. And our concept of financial difficulty is a compound of two variables. It is EBITDA lower than financial expenses and market value lower than equity for 2 consecutive years. It's this concept we didn't develop. We brought this from Pindado Rodrigues and De La Torre, and also this concept is used in a lot of papers that we read. So according to Balkan and Ruby, financial difficulty can be prevent to ensure the continuity and thus avoid the possibility of becoming insolvent. The companies can do business combination. So right now, our paper, it wants to find out the relationship about business combination and the financial default. Well, also the concept of business combination that we used, it was from the firm perspective. So the ones that were target of control acquisition, joint ventures, and incorporations. Our data, we use the Brazilian Stock Exchange from B3. We deal with 489 non-financial corporations. We analyze it from 2010 to 2011, so we had a panel data for 9 years. And the data, it was from Economática, Ambima, CVM, and the Bacen, the Brazilian Central Bank. We did a logistical regression with panel data to analyze the probability of companies ongoing on financial difficulty associated with business combination and controlled by sector, financial, and market expectation data. We have this sector, financial, and market expectation data from Rezende, Montezano, Oliveira, and Lameira. They did an awesome work. They tested 32 variables that affect the financial difficulty probability, and the result was this 5 financial and this 8 economic variables. So once they tested, and the only 8 that was actually robust, we used this one. Although we retested all these variables and the network capital had a lot of correlation with the other ones, so from our final data, we didn't use net working capital. Our model, the classification, the overall rate of correct classification was almost 70%. So for classification, in terms of sensitivity, the companies that were in financial difficulty and the model classified correct, it was 77%. And then the ones in terms of specificity, the ones that were not in financial difficulty and the model classified correctly was 65% almost. So in terms of prediction, our model had a ROC curve from 78%, almost 79%. So in terms of results, like all the results, usually the variable that we are most focused, it didn't bring the significance, but we find out that the sector was significant, the equity over liabilities, the asset turnover, and the GDP and the interest rate. So in our discussion, the results discussions, even though the business combination was not significant for our level of significance, we had this minus sign, which means the relationship is the opposite. So business combination can actually have a negative relationship about financial distress prediction, which is a good thing. But also the other ones, the control variables, shows us a lot of good results. Like we found out the industrial sector is more likely to be in financial difficulties, like 2.5 times than the services sector. And the news that I put in the beginning in the New York Times corroborates with that. They saying that how hard it is for industry right now. And also we found an interesting thing about the results of the equity with the ratio equity and liabilities. In the first time when we saw it, we were like, well, less obligation is supposed to have the opposite sign. But then in the literature, we found out that this ratio is related to investments. So if you have like a bigger picture, we found out that more equity liabilities is less investments. So it can bring to more probability of financial distress. And also, we have the negative relationship between assets turnover and financial distress prediction is because it generates the use of assets to produce revenues. It's better, so it's like common sense. And in now the GDP also has the opposite relation, which is also common sense. And the interest rate, we have the research also has a negative relationship, but the thing is kind of a delay. Once we have the poor economic environment, then they adjust the interest rate. So that's why we found out this relationship. And that's pretty much our work. And I would like to thank a lot for you to read our article, for the contributions. And I will leave you my kind regards and also our contact.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cecilia.
I will stop sharing right now, right?
Yes. Then I can
Okay.
share my screen. Okay, are you seeing my screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to discussing this paper, relationship between financial distress prediction and business combination in Brazilian capital market. Again, thank you very much for the conference. I'm very honored to be the discussant of this paper. So first of all, I'd like to present a quick summary of my understanding of the paper, okay? I'm going to present a Libby box here of your model, which is a logistic regression. You use it as an independent variable as a construct, a business combination. And to operationalize, you're using a dummy variable, which goes to 1 if the company was target of control acquisition, joint venture, or incorporation, and 0 if not. And you're trying to relate this with financial distress, which is the dependent variable. And to operationalize, as you explained, you're using also a dummy 1 if the company had 2 consecutive years of EBITDA lower than financial expenses and a fall in its market value, and 0 if not. So the idea behind is that business combination is a strategy for companies that aim to get out of financial difficulty. It's very logic. It has economic foundation. It's very interesting. And as control variables, used financial information, industry, and economic environment, as you also explained. Summary of your results, it was found a negative relation between financial distress and business combination, but not statistically significant, and other control variables were significant in the model. Dummy of sector, net equity over total liabilities, asset turnover, expectation of GDP growth rate, and expectation of interest rates. So this is a quick summary of the ideas. I will start with positive points that I see in your paper. I think it has merit. It's a relevant topic to research, especially nowadays in the times that we are seeing a lot of companies that are going to be in distress. It's well written and structured. I think the literature review is well constructed. I think it's very nice, very good, and interesting conclusions. So I think you can invest more time trying to develop the paper. And of course, in the next slides, I'm going to offer you ideas and critiques for you to think and try to develop more your paper. Okay. So, in my view, some issues to improve. First of all, I do not agree with the statement that uh, you wrote, and also you said that this research confirms the hypothesis that the business combination negatively affects the financial distress of a company. And why I'm saying that? I just got here your table, and also you presented the p-value of your main variable is 41.9. I think it's very far from a percentage that could be significant. For example, 5%, it could be 6% or 7 or even 10, but it's 41. I know that the signal is the signal that you would like to be. It's a minus, but it's the second worst variable in your model. So I think you cannot say that you are accepting your hypothesis with the data that you have. And also I will present other arguments to say that, okay? Of course, it's my view. You don't need to agree with that, okay? But it's arguments for you to think. For example, you could run the model without this variable and see the classification power of your model. I think that it will be almost the same because this variable is not explaining almost anything. You could try, for example, to lag the Combinag variable. I don't know if you tried, because in my thinking, based on the fact that business combination may not have an immediate impact on financial distress, if you use a lagging, maybe you can have a different result. One concern that I had bothers me a lot is that you have a low number of companies that were targeted by a business combination in your data. You have more than 4,000 data in your data set, but only 51, which represents 1.15% of the data, is targeted by a business combination. So I think maybe the problem of the model is the data. You may not have enough data to capture the relation that you want to capture. You know, it's too low. You only 51 companies, or I think you mentioned 22 companies in the paper. So I think more than one company did more than one business combination in the period, but it's too low. So a suggestion would be running a test with a more balanced sample. Of course, you would lose a lot of data, or try another approach. I don't know. You have to think. I would think about a qualitative analysis, looking at these 51 cases and try to identify the motivations for these business combinations. For example, if we look today in the newspaper, the Oi company is suffering a lot, is suffering financial distress, and there are lots of other telecom companies trying to buy that. It's typical the situation that you are trying to achieve. And this case shows in the real financial statement, in the real world, what you are trying to address. So maybe you don't need to do a lot of statistical and complicated models to show what you are trying to show. You didn't show descriptive statistics for the main variable DFIN, the financial distress. I don't know how many companies and data are classified as a financial distress. Maybe there is the same problem with the variable combination, business combination. there's a lack of explanation of why did you choose that control variables. I think the justification is too much based on Rezende paper you also mentioned in your presentation. Of course, I know I also did that in my previous papers. It's common to base our choices on other papers, but we have to be convinced that this is correct. For example, why did you choose the ratio suppliers over total assets? I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense to use this ratio. Why did you choose these specific ratios that you put in your models instead of others? Resende did that. You could try another indexes. So I think you could try another things and not be based too much on the Resende research. Okay. Also, the concept of financial distress, I think is a very important point. Of course, it's hard to operationalize. You also based your choices on another paper. And I think you should try to justify the choices based on economic arguments and theory, not only because this author did or that author did. Okay, I know that this is important, what the other authors did, but I think it has to make sense. And sometimes we see that some papers use things that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I think you have to justify more carefully these choices. For example, EBITDA is not a index that is well accepted. Is very criticized. I'm not saying that what you did was wrong. Maybe it is a possibility, but there would be another possibility or others, okay? EBITDA doesn't consider need for investment. It varies from sector to sector, does not represent real operating cash flow, only potential. Companies do a lot of other adjustments very frequently. And I don't know if you use it the published EBITDA or you calculate EBITDA. You didn't say, at least I didn't capture. And also when you classify between 0 or 1, you are losing data because you can have, for example, a company that is very, very, very bad and it's classified as 1, and you could have a company not too bad, but it's bad, and with your criteria, it's also 1, or maybe it's 0. But if you would have another index, not like 0 or 1, maybe you could try to address the financial distress, getting more data than just a classification. So maybe you can try to develop a different index for financial distress. I'm thinking about that. And could be a valuable contribution from your search, not only seeing the data, but construct a new methodology, a new kind of way to address the financial distress, okay? And to finish my presentation, we are almost in the time to finish and open for the others to give contributions. The concept of business combination used is not the concept of business combination accepted on IFRS. IFRS 3, which is the the standard that regulates business combination, defines business combination as a transaction or other event in which an acquirer obtains control of one or more business. And you use it in the paper, business combination, in a broader context, including joint control and incorporation transaction. I'm not saying that you should exclude joint control or incorporation transaction, but you should have more care with the term, because when people read business combination, normally they are thinking about the definition of IFRS 3. So a suggestion, my suggestion would be use a different term in your work, including the title, because you use business combination in the title, and clearly defining it. So you have to have a operational definition in your work for the business combination, and say clearly how you are using it in your work, and saying that it's different from IFRS. Okay, so I think this is the main points. I prepared a written report for you. Okay, I'm going to send for you and all the authors. If you have any doubt about what I wrote, you can write me an email. I'm totally available to discuss with you. I think I could contribute for developing your work. Once again, thanks for the opportunity, and congratulations for the research, and good luck with your research and in this new tries and new developments that you could do in the paper. Remembering, it's only my view. You cannot agree with that, and you can comment now about my critiques, but I think this is my role to critique our work. Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity, and if you want to comment something, feel free. Okay, and now if the audience wants to add something, also we have some time.
Well, I really appreciate for your contributions. It's like open my mind at least, and for sure for my colleagues too. I love this about the qualitative analysis. Usually, like I'm more quantitative, but looking from this perspective, I would never imagine a qualitative right in the past, but right now I'm so on it. Thank you a lot. And also about the concept, I would never think myself developing a concept of things. They usually use authors because I'm like, it's safer, right? So
yes,
like
I know that.
It would be amazing to try it. So thank you a lot. I really appreciate that.
No, I know how it is, and I know you're a master student, and we are trying to protect ourselves, but we cannot just accept what is written, because once it's written, the other is sitting, and then the concept can be wrong. So we have to think if it's correct, and we have to use the theory and maybe use another index. That's my opinion.
Thank you a lot. I could never agree more.
Good. Okay, what about the audience, the participations? Do you have any comment, any contribution for the paper? I'm looking for the chat also in YouTube. Feel free to post, and if there's no comments, we are going to finish the session. Just during our wait, this paper do during a course in the masters. How was the context of the research?
It was in the class from our masters. It was required to develop an article. Okay. Me and Otávio, we like a lot this business combination. My thesis is about earning management, so we decided this.
Okay. Nice. Okay, Vanessa is offering some questioning. She wrote in Portuguese, no problem, but I think you can understand and reply her about Z-score from Altman.
We considered, but in the end, we just did the logit. We know that there is more analysis. I haven't seen this article from Martins and Venturis from 2020, and I haven't been reading actual articles about that. But I will consider. I will take a note and find out about this Martins and Venturis. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Also, Professor Lirio are congratulating the work. Thank you. And also Laura in YouTube chat are thanking the critics and contributions. I thank the opportunity for reading the paper. And I think that's it. We are just in the time to finish the session. If there's no other question, I'd like to thank you, Cecilia, for the opportunity and the presentation. Good luck with the development. I hope you have energy to continue this research. And if you want to say your final words, feel free.
Oh, I would just like to say thank you so much, and I really appreciate your contributions.
Okay, I will send, please send, what's your email? Just type in the chat.
Okay.
I couldn't find in the paper. So I can send to you my written, okay, perfect. I can send to you my written report, which is more detailed, okay? I wrote in Portuguese because the paper is in Spanish and I have more facilities writing in Portuguese, okay? But I think you understand, of course.
Better than English and Portuguese. Oh, and Spanish.
Today, in some minutes, I'm sending to you the written report with the critics. Okay, so thanks again, and thanks the conference for the opportunity, and thank everybody for seeing the section we are going to finish. Bye bye. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.